welcome to another episode. Now today I wanted to talk about something which seems so simple that many folk might think, well, does it even warrant a topic of discussion of its own? But I would argue the opposite. In fact, I believe that because it appears so simple, many undervalue its importance, many overlook it, and off the back of that, they set themselves up for a whole host of potential disease symptoms. So what am I leading up to? Well, I'm leading up to the subject of water. You are a watery being. You are 75% water. Your lungs are 90% water. Your brain is over 3/4 water. Even your bones are 25% water. And it's meant to be that way. Water is the fundamental vehicle for all our metabolic processes to take place. And when we look at the body, we see that our circulation, which is this river of blood that carries around the nutrients to all the tissues of our body and the oxygen to all our cells, this fundamental carrier of our blood is water. At the tissue level, water is required for the enzymes to complete their functions, and after the metabolic processes have done their job and energy has been generated, then there's a whole host of metabolic byproducts, the waste products, toxins and heavy metals that need to be eliminated, and these are eliminated via the lymphatics, which is a river of lymph. Again, the vehicle of the lymph is water. So I think you're beginning to see that water plays a role at every level in the body's functioning. And yet in spite of all this, a huge proportion of people are chronically dehydrated. And I always like to bring it back to the simple metaphor of, if you want to keep something clean, if you want to keep something functioning well, what do you use? You use water. If you clean the dishes, you use water. If you're flushing out a drain, you use water. And, our body really is no different. If we want to keep it functioning properly, if we want to keep it cleansed and nourished and functioning at every level, then we require water. Now, a big contributing factor towards this chronic dehydration in my mind is this addiction in the modern times to always looking for the latest and greatest, the new cutting edge drug, always looking for something new to fix our problems, and instead of taking a step back and looking at the basics, at the fundamentals, and addressing that. And in fact, even if these fancy new drugs did actually address the cause, which they often don't, all our efforts nonetheless would be undermined by not addressing water, because that really is where it all starts. And in fact, I'll share a quote which I love. Dr. Batmanghelidj. He's the author of Your Body's Many Cries for Water, and he has this great slogan, and it goes like this: you are not sick, you are thirsty. Isn't that great? It kind of says it all, that if you just ensure that your body is well hydrated, you automatically enable your body to do what it does naturally so well. So, get out of the way of your body, just nourish it with water and nutrients, and your body does the rest. But we tend to overlook these really, really simple basics, and in doing so we set ourselves up for disease. So I want to now just talk about what happens when we do become dehydrated. Why is this such a problem? Well, in essence, the level of water intracellularly, that is the water in the cell, drops relative to that is outside of the cell. That we call that intercellularly. So this low level of water in the cell results in a malfunction of the enzymes that are necessary for metabolism. And that leads to poor energy levels, and as a result of this, the tissues then malfunction, and eventually, in a more advanced stage, what actually happens is the positive feedback mechanism. Normally we have this amazing survival mechanism that tells our brain and our thirst center in our brain to drink more. It makes us thirsty. Problem is that when we are really in an advanced stage of chronic dehydration, that this positive feedback mechanism actually becomes disenabled, and in doing so, we actually we're not reminded that we need to drink. And so that's a clue very often. If you're not drinking much, and I'm talking good pure water, and if you're not eating a lot of water rich content foods such as fruit and veggies, and you're not having the stimulus to drink, well, you need to pretty much assume that you are dehydrated, and need to address this. Now, one of the other things that's really noteworthy at this point is, that relatively high water content that is outside the cells that I mentioned a moment ago. So there's low water content in the cells, and there's a high water content intercellularly between the cells. Well, this actually builds up, and we get symptoms of water retention. Also very common in modern times, and people might present with swollen ankles, or bags under their eyes, or puffy necks, and very often the standard treatment in conventional medicine is to take a diuretic, or be prescribed a diuretic. And diuretics, if you're not familiar, actually accelerate water loss from your body. So this is exactly the opposite of what we should be doing for our body, because actually our body is crying for more water. And so really what we should be doing is, and in advanced stages of dehydration particularly, you need to work together with a skilled professional to slowly rehydrate your body in very small increments at a time, in order to do it safely, and so that eventually your enzymes and your metabolic functions can resume their normal activity, and then water can enter into the cells again, and in doing that would flush out toxins, and a whole host of disease symptoms will dissipate alongside that. Again, do that with some skilled help. Now, what are the earlier symptoms that you might want to look out for if you are chronically dehydrated? Well, very often these seem very vague, very insidious, such as low energy levels, fatigue, depression, headaches, and migraines, weight gain, pain, and when these are not addressed, that's when they then progress to form diseases of greater consequence, diseases like cancers and cardiovascular disease and obesity and so on. And so really, we need to recognize these symptoms, be on the lookout for them at an earlier stage, and catch them then by slowly building up our water intake. So how much water should we be drinking? Well, the golden rule of thumb is 1 liter per 22 kilograms of your body weight. And if you quickly work that out according to your body weight, you probably realize that if you're like most people, you're drinking too little. Now, don't suddenly go and drink 3 liters a day if that's your quota for the day tomorrow, because again, regardless of where you're at, you need to build it up slowly. If you're not chronically ill, well, you can build it up slowly yourself, but I would do that very slowly, not more than a half a liter every few days to a week, and then slowly build it up until you've reached your full quota for the day. And when I refer to that 1 litre per 22 kilograms, I include beautiful filtered water. If you have access to rainwater or mountain spring water, even better. It also includes, though, organic fruit and veggie drinks, herbal teas. Sadly, it doesn't include coffees, alcohol, black teas. So, these actually dehydrate us. Carbonated drinks is another one. These are not adding to our daily quota. And then, just a final tip. So many people tell me that they don't want to, they don't like the taste of water because, they're just not in the habit of drinking. And so to them I say, add some lovely mint leaves, add some lemon slices, or, a few pieces of beautiful organic strawberry. Make your water interesting. And one of the things that I like to do is I put out my quota of water in a jug, on the kitchen counter every day, and then I know that that's how much I need to drink before the day is over. So I actually can measure and quantify just how much I'm drinking. And oh yes, another final point is a lot of people say to me, I can't drink that much because then I just pee all the time. And to them I say, well, that's only because you're chronically dehydrated. In the beginning you will do, because your cells can't take up the water adequately into your cells, as I explained earlier. But as you slowly rehydrate yourselves, your cells will begin to take up water, and then when you do that, you won't be running to the bathroom every 2 minutes, and you will actually be rehydrating your cells. You will actually enable the thirst, that positive feedback mechanism. You'll actually feel thirsty, and then you'll just feel your health go from strength to strength. Greater energy, symptoms of, all those symptoms that I alluded to earlier will begin to dissipate. So give that a try, and I urge you, after this video, go and run for that next glass of water, and cheers to you, and have an amazing, amazing week. I'll see you soon.